It was supposed to be a simple day at Mason Motors, a busy car dealership just outside the city. Shiny new cars lined the showroom floor, the smell of polish hanging heavy in the air. Customers bustled in and out, laughter, small talk, the sound of deals being made. But then, the front doors opened, and everything changed. A man stepped inside, holding the small hand of a little girl in a faded pink jacket. His clothes were worn, his boots old but sturdy. His eyes, deep, tired, and quietly proud, scanned the room. He didn't look like the kind of man who belonged in a shiny dealership. The manager, Ethan Cole, spotted him immediately, and frowned. He didn't know that the man standing in front of him once saved a life that meant more to him than money, cars, or status ever could. And by the time he found out, it would be too late to undo the pain he caused. "Daddy, is this where we get a car?" the little girl asked, her voice filled with hope. "Yeah, sweetheart," said James Porter, smiling faintly as he looked down at his daughter, Lily. "We'll just look around for something that gets us from A to B, doesn't have to be fancy." He wasn't here to impress anyone. He just needed a reliable used car to get to his new job at the factory across town, a fresh start after years of struggling to find his place back home. James had been a U.S. Army medic, 12 years of service, 3 tours overseas. When he returned, he brought scars no one could see. His wife had left during deployment, leaving him to raise Lily alone. But he never complained. He just worked harder. As they approached the front desk, Ethan, the dealership manager, adjusted his tie and forced a polite smile. Ethan was all about appearances, sharp suit, slick hair, and a practiced charm that turned off the moment he smelled no money. "Welcome to Mason Motors," Ethan said, eyeing James's frayed jacket. "Can I help you?" "Yes, sir," James replied politely. "I'm looking for something used, maybe a small SUV or sedan. My credit's not great, but I can make a down payment." Ethan's smile disappeared almost instantly. "We don't really deal in junkers here. Most of our vehicles are newer models, for serious buyers." Lily tugged on her father's hand. "But Daddy, that red car looks perfect." Ethan crossed his arms. "That's a 2021 hybrid. Way out of your price range, I'm sure." James's face didn't change. He'd seen worse arrogance overseas. He stayed calm. "No worries, sir. I just want to see what options you have." Ethan sighed. "Look, buddy, we can't waste time showing cars to people who can't afford them. Try somewhere down the road, they deal with your kind." The words hit James like a slap. "Your kind." Lily's smile faded. "Daddy, did we do something wrong?" He knelt beside her, keeping his voice gentle. "No, baby. We just came to the wrong place." As they turned to leave, a voice boomed from behind the glass office upstairs. "James Porter? Is that you?" Everyone froze. Ethan turned around, confused. Out of the office stepped Richard Mason, the dealership's owner, a man in his 60s with kind eyes and silver hair. He walked down the stairs quickly, his face lighting up with recognition. "It is you. After all these years." Ethan blinked. "You know him, sir?" Richard didn't answer. He went straight to James, pulled him into a hug, and said quietly, "You saved my life in Afghanistan." The room fell silent. 15 years earlier, in the dust and chaos of a remote Afghan village, Sergeant Richard Mason's convoy had been ambushed. The explosion flipped their vehicle. Shrapnel tore through his chest. He'd been sure he would die there. But one man, a medic, crawled through gunfire to reach him. That medic was James Porter. He tied off the bleeding, shielded Mason with his own body, and refused to leave him behind. Richard had never forgotten the name. Back in the dealership, Ethan's face went pale. "Sir, I didn't realize." "You didn't ask," Richard said sharply, his tone colder than anyone had ever heard. "You saw a man down on his luck and treated him like dirt. That man is a hero." Ethan stammered. I thought he." "You thought," instead of listening, Richard interrupted. Then he turned to James. "Son, I owe you my life. You need a car. You're not paying a cent." James shook his head humbly. "Sir, that's not why I came. I just need something reliable. I can pay overtime. But Richard smiled. You already did. With your courage. He knelt down to Lily's level. And you, young lady, how about that red car you liked? Her eyes widened. Really? Richard nodded. Really? James's eyes filled with tears. He hadn't cried in years, but this moment broke through every wall. Ethan watched, his pride crumbling. He realized how blind ambition had made him cruel. After the paperwork was done and the keys handed over, he approached James in the parking lot. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I judged you without knowing your story. I need to change that. James looked at him for a long moment, then smiled faintly. Then start today. Everyone's fighting a battle you can't see. As the red car drove off with Lily's laughter echoing through the air, Richard turned to Ethan. Never forget this, son. The worth of a man isn't measured by what he wears, it's measured by what he's done, and who he's still fighting for. Sometimes, the people we overlook are the ones who carry the greatest stories, the quiet heroes walking among us. A single act of kindness, or cruelty, can echo far beyond the moment. Because respect costs nothing, but it can change everything.